Okay, so now we'll look at 5.15. Let's look at it. So you're going to click on this and you're going to open it in Excel, and we have the arrivals and the frequencies. Well, the way that you want to do this one is we don't have a probability. So first we need to get the probability, and it's just the number of outcomes divided by the total. So first of all, these are the amount of times it occurred. So we need to add up all of these numbers to get a total, and that would be 200. So to get your probability, you will take 15 and you will divide it by 200, and that is how you get 0.075. So this is your probability number. So you actually had to calculate it on this one, whereas on the problem we worked a minute ago, were already given the probability. So you won't need the frequency column anymore. You won't use it. You will be using the arrivals and the probability. So to get the mean, you take this number here and you times it by your probability, and you get 0. So your formula in Excel, if you wanted to put this in, you would do your equal sign, your arrivals times your probability, and you would get the 0 times anything is 0, and then just copy the formula down. And then you will sum these up, and that is your mean. Now that you have the mean, you're going to make sure to get your mean, you're going to take your arrival number and you're going to subtract your mean. So you're going to do 0, your 0 minus your 2.915. So then you're going to do 1 minus 2.915, and then 2 minus 2.915. You're going to take each one of these numbers and subtract 2.915. So the formula would be, if you wanted to put the formula in, you're going to say equals, highlight the cell, minus 2.915, and then once you get that, just drag that box down and it will put all your formulas in for you. Now once you get that number, you have to square it. It's the difference between the arrival minus the mean squared. So we're going to square each one of these numbers. So you could have done that in one step, but I'm doing it step by step. So you're going to square it. So it's just, you could put this in the calculator. You could just do equals the cell that you want times the cell again. And then to square the rest of them, just copy the formula down like that. Then once you get the number, the difference squared, you're going to take that answer and go back and times that by the probability. So equals this number, the difference squared, minus the probability, and then copy that down, which I already have, all the way down, and then you're going to sum it up, sum this up, and then you're going to take the square root equals the square root of this, and that will give you the standard deviation, which is 1.851. Let me go back to where it was. 1.851. Rounded to the third decimal place. And your rounding can be off just a little bit. But that's why I like Excel, because it's very precise. You get a precise answer when you get to the end. So that is 5.15. And then 5.16, I believe that is the last one I did. I didn't work 5.1.7 because it's very similar to the ones that I'm working in these examples. So 5.1.6 I opened this in Excel. I've already done that. And what I did was I broke it up into restaurant A and to restaurant B because you need to do these separately, like they're two different problems. So I'm gonna go ahead and do everything for restaurant A. So what I did was I came up with my total number of frequencies, 70, by summing the frequencies up, equals sum of these. And then what you have to do is get your probability. Your probability is just going to be the 3 divided by the 70. So the easiest way when you're using Excel is just to highlight the cell and then press divided by. You're going to use that symbol at 70 and to get your probability. Then copy it down. It's going to get your probability. So this number represents 12 out of 70. This number represents 8 divided by 70. This number represents 31 divided by 70. And this number represents 16 divided by 70. Now that we have the probability, we take the rating number and times it by the probability. And then the second rating times the probability, third rating times the probability. And then once you get all those numbers, you add them up to get the mean. So then what you want to do is you want to take the difference between the rating and the mean. So your formula is going to be equals the rating minus the mean. Now here, this is a long number. You could probably round it, but I just highlighted the cell so I get a precise, but you cannot copy the formula down because it will not work. It expects it to continue to move. So what you have to do is you have to do A11 and you just have to highlight the D15 cell again. And then so for example here, if you were to copy this down, your formula was A10 minus D15. Well, what it did was when you drag this button down, it's going to say A11 minus D16, but we don't want D16. We want to keep subtracting this cell. So we're going to do D15. And then we're going to do D15 again. We're always subtracting that one. D15. Oh, sorry. 15. And then D15. Okay, so once you get the difference, you have to square all of these numbers. That's all this is this number squared. So equals E10 times E10. When you square a number, you're multiplying it times itself. Then once you get all the numbers squared, you have to take the difference squared, you have to times that by the probability. Remember, this is the probability column. So it's this times this. And copy the formula down and get a sum. That's the variance. To get the standard deviation, you have to take the square root of the variance. And that would be this is your standard deviation and this is your mean. So if you go back to the example, the standard deviation for A, the mean is 3.643 and the standard deviation is 1.134. Okay, and then for the last one, for restaurant B, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do 12 divided by 75 and all of these divided by 75. This is your probability. And then you're going to take your probability times your rating and do that for each one. Probability times your rating. And then you're going to get a total, and that's your mean. And then you're going to take your rating and subtract your mean. Each rating you're going to take, and you're going to subtract the mean, and you're going to put your answers here. That is your difference. Then you have to square your difference. So you're going to square each one of these numbers, and that's how you get these numbers. And then once you get your difference squared, which is this column, you're going to times these numbers by your probability to get these numbers. Then you're going to add your probabilities up, and to get your standard deviation, to get your variance, and to get your standard deviation, you're going to take the square root. And that is pretty much how you work these problems. You do one step